Hey guys, Sean from SADfab. Here's some tips on how to install your SADfab poly bronze retrofit. First thing you may notice, there's 3 different bearing sizes. You have a skinnier one, and 2 larger diameters, a short and a long. The skinnier bearing goes on the rear upper control arm outer with its skinnier sleeve, so you can't really mix that up. But of the 2 larger diameters, the short one only goes on the front upper control arm bushings. The long one goes everywhere else. As far as installing the bearings, I suggest you put the bearing into the bushing first and then install the loaded bushings into the arms. On 2-piece bushings, like so, you can drill the arm first for the grease fitting and then install the bushings and bearings. But on the 1-piece, you'll have to install the bushing first and then drill through the bushing. You'll notice the gap on the inside. Focus. Don't focus. That's where your grease fitting should come through, or at least close. And that's how the grease gets around. You get 16 of the washers with the kit. A pair of each goes on the 8 lower control arm locations. So that would be the front lower control arm rear, the front lower control arm front, and the rear lower control arm inner. Install the bearing into those bushings just like you would anywhere else. Push them into their flush or a little past. And then push the washer on top of them until the washer's flush. Just like that. And when you install the sleeve, you'll notice the washers will stick out just a little bit. Focus. And make contact with your subframe before the flange of the bushing does. You get 10 of the short grease fittings and 12 of the long grease fittings with the kit. They are 1/4-28 thread. You'll need a 7/32 or number 3 drill along with a 1/4-28 tap. The short ones go in the front upper control arm, the rear lower control arm outer, and the rear upper control arm outer, and you'll actually be drilling into the knuckle for those, for the grease fittings. The long ones go everywhere else, which is the lower control arm inners and the rear upper control arm inners. You put the long ones in the hole in the web or the assembly of the control arm bushing board. You can find pictures of that in the mega thread, or maybe I'll post them up later, some updated versions. The bushings can go in kind of hard into the arms after you put the bearings in because it doesn't let them collapse all the way, but I find it much more difficult to put the bearings in after because of that same reason. So you may need to use a vise or press to push them in. Not all of them go in by hand like I just did, so it's not a big deal if they do. On the front upper control arm bushing specifically, you'll notice when it's installed it's a little longer. It sticks out on one side. It should be flush on the flange side. Sticking out on the inside there is normal. When you bolt it all together in the arm and the subframe, you'll see how it clamps together and how it works. Just make sure you get some grease on that surface so it doesn't rust, especially if you live in a rainy or wet area. Feel free to grease any and all surfaces, it doesn't hurt. Too much grease is better than not enough. Enjoy.